You think you know what elite military training looks like. Sweat, drills, shouting instructors, maybe some obstacle courses. That's what most people imagine when they hear special forces. But what if I told you that somewhere on this planet, there's a training program so relentless, so unforgiving, that even the most seasoned warriors from across the globe walk away humbled, mentally shaken, and forever changed? This is the story of Navy Sogi, the Philippine Navy's most elite warriors, and the training that redefines what toughness really means. You're about to see routines so intense that seasoned foreign operators didn't expect what happened next. You might think you can predict how elite soldiers respond, but here, the environment, the terrain, becomes the instructor. It's not about technology. It's not about gadgets. It's about raw human will. NAVS, OG stands for Naval Special Operations Group. It's the tip of the spear in the Philippine Navy, trained to excel in the sea, air, and land, but especially the jungle. And this jungle has a reputation. It's humid. It's unforgiving. It's alive. So what makes this training one of the toughest in the world? Let's start with how it began. Decades ago, the Philippines faced threats that most Western militaries rarely encounter: guerrilla warfare in dense tropical jungles, insurgents using the environment as cover, and reliance on small, elite units to turn the tide. That's where NAV OG was born. Not in simulation rooms, not in air-conditioned facilities, but in the mud, under the sun, in real terrain where mistakes don't stay virtual for long. Early recruits described their first days as a shock. They expected push-ups. They expected running. They weren't ready for the jungle to be the real test. You're about to hear from men who served with some of the world's most respected forces. People trained in deserts, mountains, frozen terrain, and yet NAVSOG's jungle curriculum pushed them beyond what they believed possible. The first phase begins before the sun even rises. Hundreds of meters of jungle footprinting. No paths, no markers, just terrain and a destination that keeps moving farther away. Recruits are weighed down by gear, feet already aching, sweat stinging their eyes. Here's the twist. The instructors don't correct. They observe. If you take the wrong trail, you keep going. You get lost. You learn. You hesitate in this jungle. It punishes hesitation. After hours of this, just when recruits think they've reached a breaking point, they enter the next test. Water insertion. Cold, unpredictable, laden with currents that pull. This is a training philosophy you won't see in sanitized Western courses. It's not about comfort. It's about unpredictability and making the unknown your new normal. What sets this apart, and what foreign forces struggle with, is the integration of environment and psychology. Many elite programs around the world focus on strength, endurance, and tactics. NAVSOG's jungle methods will test your mind first, body second. Recruits quickly learn that the jungle isn't just terrain, it's an instructor. The buzzing insects teach patience. The sudden rainstorms teach adaptability. The darkness teaches vulnerability, but it doesn't stop there. Next comes survival training, not the kind you see on TV. This is real. Food is scarce, water sources are questionable, and tracking skills aren't an optional lesson. They're necessary to stay alive. Foreign soldiers who walk this path are often experts in cold weather survival. In controlled environments, with rescue teams on standby. Here, survival means understanding nature's rhythms, without modern conveniences. But perhaps the most grueling segment is the mental collapse phase. Picture being pushed to physical limits, then told to keep moving through unknown terrain. At night, with no compass and minimal sleep. When you're exhausted, disoriented, and vulnerable, the mind begins to fail much before the body. And that's where NAVSOG training excels. It breaks you down so that rebuilding you becomes inevitable. Instructors observe reactions, not strength. They measure how recruits adapt when everything familiar is stripped away. And what happens next? Many foreign operators describe an internal shift. They start the course confident in their abilities, but by the midpoint, they realize that NAVSOG isn't just about physical toughness. It's about surrender, surrender to discomfort, unpredictability, and uncertainty. Those who endure don't just graduate, they transform. You might wonder if it's all simply hardship for hardship's sake, but there's method behind the madness. In real operations, in hostile territory, without supply lines, with local populations watching, whether unpredictable, these warriors can't rely on equipment, vehicles, or constant communication. They rely on instinct, resilience, and the ability to stay composed when nothing makes sense. And that's why this training is considered among the toughest in the world. Foreign special forces attend joint exercises here and there, but few have walked the full NAV-SOG curriculum. And those who have, they speak a common language of respect. Men who trained in other elite units, those with medals, accolades, and battlefield experience say the hardest fight wasn't against an enemy. It was against their own expectations. They came thinking they knew what elite meant. NIV's OG showed them they had only scratched the surface. And here's the real takeaway. Toughness isn't just how hard you train, it's how deeply you understand the environment you operate in. Jungle nature isn't an obstacle. It's the measure of your readiness. Navazogi, training doesn't just prepare soldiers for battle. It prepares them for the unpredictable, for the unseen, for the moment when everything they thought they knew no longer matters. By the end of this journey, every recruit learns not just survival, but confidence in the unknown. Those who make it through don't just walk out stronger. They walk out changed. They leave with a deeper understanding. Real toughness isn't about conquering the environment. It's about adapting to it, respecting it, and thriving within it. That is what makes NAV's training one of the toughest in the world. Not because it is brutal, but because it teaches warriors to master uncertainty itself. If you thought elite training ended with physical prowess, think again. You just witnessed why the jungle, combined with human resilience, produces warriors unlike any other on the planet.